Hi, welcome to Walk With Me, a summer series designed for the Church at 434 in Motion. I'm glad you joined me. I'm Jeff Dixon. I'm going to be your host. Have you ever heard about the famous, brilliant scientist Albert Einstein and what happened to him when he died? On April 18th, 1955, his body wound up in the morgue at Princeton Hospital in New Jersey. He had died of a ruptured aneurysm. Presiding over that autopsy was a doctor, Thomas Stoltz Harvey, who would become known as the man who stole Einstein's brain. You ever heard that story before? If not, walk with me. See, when I hear a story like that, my first thought is, did that really happen? Did they really steal Einstein's brain? And the truth is, they did. See, some have thought that Einstein left strict instructions that when he died, he didn't want anything like that to happen to his remains. He felt like it wasn't proper. But then others argued that he did leave specific instructions that when he passed away, he wanted his body donated for science. And maybe, just maybe, they could figure out exactly how brilliant he was based on something they found medically. Turns out that when he died during that autopsy, Harvey actually cut into Einstein and removed his brain and his eyes. He took the eyes and he gave them to his physician's, I guess, care, but he took the brain itself and began dissecting the brain into smaller individual pieces. You might need to know that he did this without the permission of the family. Einstein's son was absolutely enraged when he heard about what had happened to his father in that autopsy, and was furious enough to threaten legal action against the man who had dissected and taken Einstein's brain. Of course, that was always after the fact. He was eventually convinced that maybe, just maybe, this was a good idea, and that great breakthroughs could be made if they could figure out what made Einstein so brilliant, and they actually convinced his son that it was okay. And so, using a procedure that allowed them to take segments of the brain, they were taken, put on slides, and then shipped to a number of scientists across the United States to look, to see if they could come up with anything that was different about Einstein's brain. What they discovered is that Einstein's brain really wasn't that different. Matter of fact, when they weighed his brain, it was smaller than the average brain. So size had nothing to do with it. As they continued to do research, they found nothing spectacular about what they were finding. There was nothing about the slides, nothing about Einstein that seemed to set him apart or make him any different. At the end of the day, the doctor who, without permission, took Einstein's brain and basically stole it, was disgraced, disbarred. He no longer could practice medicine. He could no longer work in the medical field. As a matter of fact, he ended up working in a factory until the day that he died, not that very long ago. Einstein said one time that he was not special, but he was incredibly curious. And it's that curiosity that drove him to learn and discover the things that he did. See, at the end of the day, Einstein did have his brain stolen. And the conclusions they found is it wasn't the brain size, or nothing about that brain was that spectacular. Instead, what was spectacular is what he did with that brain. I think there's an important lesson in that for all of us. Each one of us are created by God in His image to accomplish the things that we were created to do. And so who you are, how you are created, that's what matters. Your task, your goal is to be curious. And when you are curious, it's amazing what can happen and what you can discover. Like this, see what happens when you decide you're willing to take a walk? I look forward to joining you next time.